Hi everyone, welcome back to ladensercrotchets. If you're new to the channel, my name is Liz. Kindly subscribe and join the ladensercrotchets family. In this tutorial, we're going to be making these cover-up pants that I hope you're going to enjoy making. I'll also be making a tutorial for the top, and once I do, I'll attach a link in the description box, so be sure to check it out. To work these pants, there are some measurements that you're going to need, and the first measurement is the hip measurement, which will be your starting chain. When you're measuring the hips, you measure the widest part of your hips. Now for mine, it's at 19 when not stretched. But we measure the hips while stretching. When I stretch these, it goes up to 24. And when you multiply 24 by 2, that will be 48. And that means this particular pants can fit someone with a hip measurement of between 40 to 48. Then you're going to need the fly measurement. The fly measurement is a measurement from your waist to the parting of your legs, right here. And this one, when it is slightly stretched, is at 14. So you need to check that measurement. It's at 15 actually. Take that measurement. Then the other measurement that you're going to need is the thigh measurement. And also you measure the widest part of the thigh. And this is what gives you thigh measurement. So this one is at, when you stretch it out, it goes to 16. 16 multiplied by 2 is 32. So this is a size large. I'll be making a size medium. I'll be taking a hip measurement of 40, thigh measurements of 25, and fly measurement will be 12. So get your measurements and let's begin. I'm using a medium weight yarn in color light blue and a 5mm crochet hook. We're going to start with the chaining a length that is equal to the hip measurement, and the chain that you're going to make should be a multiple of 10. So it could be 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, and so on. So begin with a slip knot. And for my size 40, I'll start with a chain of 100. Now I'll start by chaining 5. Then pull out the hook because I don't want my chain to be twisted, and I'll put my hook into the first chain that I've made and put it back into the 5th chain, and then now continue chaining up to 100. I have my 100 chains ready, and I'm going to measure this. So just like this, without stretching, the chain goes up to, it's going up to 15. 15 multiplied by 2, that is 30. So I'm going to stretch this out to see whether it will get me to 20, because 20 is what gives me 40 when we multiply by 2. So just stretch. And now this stretches to 18. And 18 by 2 is 36. So I'm going to chain 10 more to see whether that will get me to 100, to 20, that is. So that's 110 chains. Stretch this out, see whether it will get to 20. And there, I'm almost at 20. And because I need a multiple of 10, I cannot do another 10 chains. It will be too big, and I'm going to work with this. This will be able to stretch and fit the 40. So 110 for me is equivalent to 40 inches on the hips. Then after this, we're going to pull this loop through the other loop to make a round. And then we begin row 1 by chaining 3. And that will act as our first double crochet in that first stitch. Then we move over to the next stitch and do a double crochet into that stitch. So this is the stitch. I almost skipped it. So right here, put your hook through that 100 stitch, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 for that double crochet. Then you're going to yarn over, put your hook through the next chain, grab a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then pull through the remaining 2. Now you want to work 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way around, and make sure that at the end of the one, the number of double crochets that you're going to have is the same as the number of chains that you've done. So like I've done 110 chains, so my double crochets should be 110 at the end of row 1. Be careful not to work extra stitches, especially at the beginning, because if you do, you'll not have a multiple of 10, and that is what we need. So I'm at 6, and I'm going to work as I count till I go all the way around the chain. I'm in the last stitch, and therefore I'm going to do a slip stitch on top of the first chain that we did. So just count 1, 2, and 3 into the third chain right there. Put your hook through and do a slip stitch to complete that first row. Now, as you can see, it looks like I've skipped a stitch here, which I have because I did an extra stitch on this side, which was not supposed to be there. So I want to ensure that my stitches are at 110 and not 101. So be careful. Now chain 3 and turn to begin the second row, and that's our first double crochet in the first chain, which is this one right here. So we're going to move to the second stitch and do a double crochet. Then into the next one we'll do a third double crochet. So 3 double crochets, then you're going to chain 2, and then we're going to yarn over and skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Then into the fourth one, place a double crochet, chain 1, go into the same stitch and place another double crochet to create a V-stitch. 1 double crochet V-stitch. Then chain 2, yarn over, skip 3, 1, 2, and 3 into the fourth stitch, do a double crochet, and do 2 more double crochets into the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Then chain 2, yarn over, skip 3, 1, 2, 3 into the fourth stitch, do a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet into the same stitch, chain 2, yarn over, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, put a double crochet and 2 more to make 3. So 2 and 3 double crochets, chain 2, yarn over, skip 3 into the fourth, do a double crochet V-stitch. And this is the pattern that we're going to repeat till we go all the way around and get back to where we've started. So your last stitch should be the V-stitch, and now you'll have 3 stitches remaining, and you're just going to chain 2 and skip them all, then do a slip stitch onto the chain 3. So you're just going to count the chains 1, 2, and 3 into the third chain. You put your hook through and complete that row with a slip stitch, and that's row 2 done. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, then turn. That's going to be our first double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2 more, 1 and 2 for this chain in between. Then work a V-stitch on top of the V-stitch. So where is the chain, we place double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Like that. Then you're going to chain 2, move to the double crochets and work 1 double crochet into each of the double crochets for a total of 3. Chain 2, work a V-stitch where there was a V-stitch in the chain. Chain 2, skip over to the double crochets and place 1 double crochet into each of the double crochets. Then chain 2, skip over to the V-stitch and place a V-stitch, and then repeat to the end. I'll meet you at the end of this row. So once we get to the end, we're going to chain 2, and then we have these 2 double crochets that we did not work on. Work on that double crochet and this other one to make 3 double crochets right there. Then we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain. So count 1, 2 and 3. So into that 3rd chain, do a slip stitch, and we're done with row 3. To begin row 4, we chain 3. That's our first double crochet, then turn. Work 1 double crochet into the next double crochet, 1 double crochet into the other double crochet to make 3 double crochets right there. Then chain 2, yarn over, do a double crochet right here, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet on top of each of the double crochets, then repeat the pattern to the end. So basically we are repeating row 3 and row 4 as we alternate. So once you work row 4, you're going to work the next row the same way we did row 3. That is, all the odd rows are the same, all the even rows are the same. So chain 2, work a V-stitch into the V-stitch, and I'll repeat to the end, and I'll show you one more time how to do the next row. Then I'll let you work till you get the fly measurements. So I'll meet you at when I'm coming to the end of row 4. So once you come to the end of row 4, you're going to do a slip stitch onto the 3rd chain of the chain 3 that we did, 1, 2 and 3. Slip stitch there to complete the row. So we begin row 5 with chaining 3, then 2 more, so that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, then turn. So the chain 5 is a double crochet and 2 chains. Then yarn over, go into the V-stitch and do a V-stitch. Chain 1, another double crochet right there. Chain 2, do a double crochet on top of the previous double crochets. Chain 2, do a V-stitch onto the V-stitch, then go all the way around. When you come to the end, you're going to do a slip stitch onto the chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. So right here, that's where you're going to have the slip stitch. Before you do that, you'll have done the 2 double crochets. So now we're going to repeat this pattern till we have our fly measurement. So I'll work this till I get 12 when I measure this length while stretching. So let me do that, and I'll tell you the number of rows I'll have worked to get to a fly measurement of 12. After a total of 14 rows, this is what I have, and this gives me my fly measurement. So just get the measuring tape and confirm this. Without stretching, the fly is at around 8 inches, so we're going to stretch this out and see whether we'll get to 12. So just pull and there. It gets me to 12 inches. You can stretch a little bit to 13, but you're not stretching too much. Don't stretch it out too much. So after the 14 rows, I'm ready to divide these into 2 in order to get the pants. And to do that, you need your thigh measurements. So get your thigh measurements, and you're going to chain. Make a chain. I'll start with a chain of 10. Again, the chain that you're going to make in the middle should be a multiple of 10. So it could be 10 or 20. I don't think you need to go beyond 20 inches. Then what you need to do is count the stitches and mark the middle stitch. I've already marked mine. And then I'm going to get this chain and bring the middle part like this. Then slip stitch onto that chain. So I'm slip stitching on this part right here. Then just pull out the stitch marker because I don't need it anymore. So after slip stitching, I'll chain 1 and then measure to see whether after dividing my thigh measurement is 25. So right here, from the middle to this point, and you're going to stretch. So when I stretch this out, it goes up to 13, which is 26, and I can work with that. When it's not stretched out too much, it gets to 24, then it can be at 25, it can be at 26. So that thigh measurement is enough for me. Now we're going to work one of the legs, and then when we're done, we're going to switch to the other side and work the other leg. Now from here, I'll just put my hook back. And then after I've chained 1, I'll cut off the yarn at that point. So cut it off and pull through. So holding my work like this from this side where the stitches are visible, I'm going to reconnect my yarn on the double crochet right here. The double crochet just before the chain. So start with a slip knot. Then reconnect the yarn right here with a slip stitch. Then chain 3. That's our first double crochet. Then we do a double crochet onto the previous double crochet, and a third double crochet into the next stitch. Then we're going to get to the chain, and on the chain we're going to yarn over, then skip 1, 2 and 3, then do the V stitch, the double crochet, V stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same chain. Then we're going to chain, sorry, I forgot to chain. So from the double crochet, you're supposed to chain 2 first, then do the V stitch, 1, 2, 3, V stitch. Then we're going to chain 2, and then again we're going to skip 3 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3 into the 4th one. Do a double crochet, 1, 2 and 3, then chain 2. After the chain 2, we're supposed to skip and move to the V stitch, but then at this point I do not have stitches to skip, so I'll just skip all these and go to the next part, which is the part where we have the double crochets. So it's like my pattern, there's an issue with my pattern right here, but I do not mind. I'll just work with it like that. So that means these double crochets will be following each other at this point, which is quite okay. So I'll do the double crochet and double crochet, then chain 2, do the V stitch, chain 2, do the double crochets, and repeat to the end. So I'll repeat to this point, then I'll measure and make sure that the thigh measurement is still what I need. So at the end, we're going to slip stitch onto the 3rd chain. Then I'm going to measure this to ensure that it's still at 26. It's actually 25, not 26. So when I stretch, it's still getting me to 13, which is 26, which is just 1 inch above 25, and we're going to work with that. So now you're going to chain 5. I've already chained 1, so chain 4 more and turn to begin the next row. And from here, we're just going to repeat the pattern that we've been working. Where there is a V-stitch, place a V-stitch. Where there are double crochets, place double crochets. Where there are chains, do the chains. So now we start with the V-stitch. Chain 2, 3 double crochets into the next 3 double crochets. 1 into each of the stitch. Then chain 2, do a V-stitch. Chain 2, do 3 double crochets. Chain 2 and then do the V-stitch and continue to the end. Then from here we're going to work that side until we get the full length of the trousers. I want mine to be, I forgot to show you the full length. So right here with this trouser, when you're measuring the full length, you do not stretch your work. So beginning from the waist part, you just measure like this. That's at 12. I take my measurements in inches. So the full length of this trouser is around 42 inches. And I'm going to make the same length with the other one. But now I'm at, let's see what length I'm at with this one. It's 8 because remember we are measuring without stretching. So I'm at 8 inches and I'll continue working this part till I get to the full length of 42 inches. Then I'll let you know the total number of rows I've done to get to that. So now just keep going. The pattern is quite simple. I'm sure that you're okay to continue from this point. And I'll meet you back here once I have my full length so that we can work the other leg. I'm done with one of the legs, as you can see. And you can take the measurement to see whether I've gotten to 42 inches for the full length of the pants. So starting from the waist right there, we want to measure all the way down. And there, I'm actually at 42 inches, 43 actually. It's 42. I'm at 42, and that is what I wanted to achieve. So now I'm just going to chain one at this point where I've ended, and then cut off the yarn, then reattach it on the other leg. So chain one and cut off. So to achieve this length, I did a total of 70 rows from the top to the bottom. I'm going to reconnect the yarn on the other part, and you want to make sure that you're reconnecting on the side where you have very visible stitches. And to do that, I want to reconnect where there is the 3 double crochets. So instead of reconnecting here, I'll start at this point where we have the 3 double crochets. I'll just grab the yarn and do a slip knot. Then put my hook through the first double crochet right here and do a slip stitch at that point. Then chain 3, and then go into the next double crochet with a double crochet, then a double crochet next, then chain 2, skip over to the V-stitch and do a V-stitch there, chain 1, double crochet, then chain 2, 1 double crochet on top of the previous double crochet. That is 1 double crochet in each of the 3 double crochets. Chain 2, do a V-stitch next on top of the previous V-stitch. Chain 2, work on top of the double crochets, 1 double crochet into each of the double crochets, and repeat till you come to this point. I'll meet you right here so that we can complete that row. So now after the 3 double crochets, I've chained 2 and I've skipped 2, then I'm going to work into this V-stitch. Work a V-stitch right there. Chain 2. Now we have the double crochets, you can see them right here. Do a double crochet right there. Actually, sorry, we're going to skip the double crochets. They are not going to be at the same point for the alternate sides, because now we need to yarn over and skip. We are skipping 3 stitches like we were skipping. So 1, 2, 3 into this 4th one. We are working the stitches on the chain. So you're going to do a double crochet, then a double crochet next, and a third double crochet. Now your pattern may not go as mine depending on the number of stitches that you went with or you started with, so just work with whatever works for you right here. Then after that you're going to chain 2, and then we're going to skip 1, 1, 2 and 3, and then I'm going to work at this stitch at the corner. Like that. Then you're going to chain 2. The next stitch is a V-stitch. So these 2 V-stitches are going to follow each other, just like I had my 3 double crochets follow each other on the other side, and that's completely okay. That's the only part of the pattern that is ruined, and we can work with that. Then I'm going to chain 2, then slip stitch onto the chain 3 to complete the row. Then chain 5, that is 3, 4 and 5, and turn your work. Your pattern may go differently than mine, so just work with whatever works for you. So onto the V-stitch, we're going to do a V-stitch, then chain 2, and do a V-stitch into the next V-stitch. Chain 2, do a double crochet on top of each of the double crochets from the previous row, and continue with this pattern. So you're going to repeat this pattern, or you're going to work like this until you have your 70 rows when you're counting from the waist. Once you have the 70 rows, you'll be done with your pants, and you can do a drawstring to attach to the waist. So because we started with the hip measurements, we're going to need to attach a drawstring to the waist in order for the waist to fit well. To work the drawstring, I get 2 strands of the yarn and work with them. Then I do a slip knot and just chain a chain that is long enough to fit onto the waist and be able to go through the hips. So I'm going to do a chain of 200. Once you have the drawstring, you're going to attach it to the waist, and we're going to do that from the front part of the pants. I'll grab my tapestry needle and just put the strap through the needle. Then determine the exact middle part of the front part and put your tapestry needle through 2 double crochets on the inside, 1 double crochet on the outside, 2 on the inside, 1 on the out, 2 on the outside, 1 on the inside, 2 on the outside, 1 on the inside, like that. And I'll keep going all the way around till I come back to this point. So right there, you can just pull out the tapestry needle and you'll be able to draw the waist like that. Then, as usual, you need to do a knot at the end of the strap on both ends, very close to the stitches. Same on the other side. And just cut the end that remains. Make sure that you're not cutting too close to the knot. Then at that point, you'll be done with the pants.